Most people don't fail at budgeting because they are irresponsible. They fail because the budgeting system they were taught was never designed for human behavior. Think about this. Almost everyone has tried budgeting at least once. You track expenses. You create categories. You promise yourself you'll finally stay disciplined this time. And for a short while, it works. But then real life begins to interfere. Unexpected expenses appear. Stress increases. Motivation fades. And the budget quietly stops working. Not because you stopped caring, but because traditional budgeting assumes something unrealistic. It assumes that financial decisions are logical. It assumes that once you see the numbers, you will simply follow the plan. But human behavior doesn't work that way. We make financial decisions emotionally. Comfort influences spending. Stress influences spending. Celebration influences spending. Even boredom influences spending. A rigid budget may look perfect on paper. But if the system depends entirely on willpower, it will eventually fail. Because willpower is temporary. Behavioral design is permanent. People who successfully manage money rarely rely on discipline alone. Instead, they build systems that reduce the number of decisions they must make every month. For example, instead of deciding repeatedly whether to invest, they automate it. Instead of relying on memory to save money, they create automatic transfers. Instead of tracking every small purchase obsessively, they design spending categories that naturally guide behavior. The goal is not perfect control. The goal is friction. Friction prevents impulsive spending from becoming permanent financial patterns. Think about it this way. If spending money is easy, it will happen frequently. If investing money is automatic, it will happen consistently. This is why behavioral finance focuses on environment design, not motivation. Your financial environment should guide your behavior, not constantly fight against it. Because the moment your financial system requires constant self-control, you have already created a fragile structure. And fragile systems break under pressure. Unexpected bills arrive. Life becomes busy. Priorities shift. And suddenly, the budget that once looked precise becomes irrelevant. But systems designed around human behavior continue to function even when life becomes unpredictable. That is the difference between budgeting and financial architecture. Budgeting tracks behavior. Financial architecture shapes behavior. One reacts to spending. The other quietly controls it. And this brings us to an important question. Think about your own financial habits. Right now, do you rely mostly on discipline to control spending? Or do you rely on systems that automatically guide your money? Take a moment and write your answer in the comments. Do you depend more on discipline or on systems? Because that answer often reveals why budgeting either works or collapses over time. If you want your financial plan to survive real life, your system must reduce the number of financial decisions you make every month. Automation, clear spending boundaries, structured allocation, and intentional friction. These are the foundations of durable financial discipline. Because wealth is rarely built through perfect budgeting. It is built through systems that quietly work in the background. Even when you're busy. Even when you're tired. Even when life becomes complicated. And in our next episode, we'll examine something even more powerful. How your daily environment and habits quietly shape financial behavior long before any budgeting decision is made. If you want to understand how environment influences money decisions, subscribe now so you don't miss episode 6. Because the systems that build wealth often begin long before the first dollar is invested.